Have you ever loved someone so deeply you couldn't see the monster sleeping beside you? This is the story of Amara, a powerful, successful businesswoman who had it all. And Kelvin. She gave him everything a man could want: love, respect, even submission. She'd kneel to tie his shoes, telling him, "I'm so proud of you." She paid the bills without a word, bought him a new watch just because, and loved him with every fiber of her being. But for Kelvin, it wasn't enough. He worked hard, but his ambition was dwarfed by a deep-seated insecurity. Her success wasn't a source of pride for him. It was a constant, stinging reminder of his own perceived failures. He'd hear whispers at his job, his co-workers laughing, "Your woman wears the crown, bro," and his forced smile would crumble into humiliation. Her love felt like a weight, her success like a judgment. At night, as Amara slept peacefully, Kelvin would watch her, his face hardening, a dark thought taking root. One day, he'd whisper, "Everything she has will be mine." The man she loved was slowly becoming her greatest enemy, and she was completely unaware. His eyes, once filled with affection, now held a cold, calculating gleam. He was no longer the man she fell for. He was a predator waiting for the right moment to strike. The turning point came when Amara closed the biggest deal of her career. The room erupted in applause, but Kelvin, standing in the background, felt invisible, his envy a bitter poison. He started asking for money. "Just this once," he said, and she gave it freely without a single question. Her trust was absolute, but Kelvin's mind was twisting her generosity into something sinister. He overheard her on the phone, discussing assets, insurance, and Will's responsible planning that he warped into a morbid opportunity. He looked at himself in the mirror, his reflection staring back, and a dangerous delusion took hold. "She wouldn't even survive without me," he convinced himself, rewriting their entire story. That night, he left the comfort of their home and walked into the city's dark underbelly. He was looking for someone who could turn his jealousy into a permanent solution. He stepped into a shadowy alley, where a group of dangerous men were waiting. He was about to make a deal with the devil. In that dark alley, Kelvin came face to face with Malik, a man whose name was whispered with fear on the streets. Malik was a notorious gang leader, a man who solved problems permanently. "You want a life taken, or you want peace?" Malik asked, his voice low and devoid of emotion. Kelvin, trembling but determined, didn't hesitate. He slid a photograph across the table. It was a picture of Amara, smiling, vibrant, and full of life. As Malik picked it up, his entire demeanor changed. His face, usually a mask of cold indifference, froze. The woman in the photo was his sister. The world didn't know that the feared gang leader and the brilliant businesswoman were blood. Malik looked at Kelvin, his eyes turning to ice. "Leave," he commanded. But Kelvin was desperate. "I'll pay anything," he pleaded, blind to the storm he had just unleashed. Malik, a master of control, kept his composure. "I'll call you," he said, dismissing Kelvin. The moment Kelvin was gone, Malik picked up his phone. He didn't call his men, he dialed a number he knew by heart. The phone rang, and Amara answered, her voice warm and unsuspecting. "Big brother." A heavy silence hung in the air before Malik spoke, his voice tight with a terrifying question. "Who are you sleeping next to?" And in that moment, Amara's perfect world shattered. Malik told her everything. He explained Kelvin's disgusting, treacherous plan. The revelation didn't break Amara with fear. It broke her with heartbreak. The man she had given her soul to wanted to erase her from existence. But this was Malik's sister. She was a survivor. Together, the siblings devised a plan, a counter move in this deadly game of love and betrayal. Malik played his part perfectly. He started charging Kelvin exorbitant amounts of money, stringing him along, pretending the hit was in motion. Kelvin grew impatient, his greed and hatred making him reckless. "Why is she still breathing?" He screamed at Malik over the phone. He had no idea he was speaking to the one person who would protect Amara with his life. That night, Kelvin looked at Amara, a sickeningly sweet smile on his face. Marriage, he thought. Marriage will fix everything. And so he proposed, with a ring that felt like it was bought with blood money. He got down on one knee, and Amara, her heart a gaping wound, smiled through the pain and said, "Yes." The wedding preparations became a chilling charade. Kelvin moved quickly, secretly meeting with lawyers, changing beneficiaries, ensuring that Amara's death would make him a very rich man. He'd hand her documents to sign, and she would, with a steady hand, knowing full well she was signing papers that were supposed to be her death warrant. But in the quiet moments, when she was alone, she would crumble. She'd look at her reflection, tears streaming down her face. "I loved you enough to die for you, but not enough to be silent," she would whisper, staring into the mirror. The day of the wedding arrived, a dark cloud hanging over the supposedly joyous occasion. This wasn't just a wedding. It was a carefully set trap. The church doors swung open. A collective gasp rippled through the guests. There stood Amara. But it was who was beside her that stunned the crowd. Walking her down the aisle, his face a mask of grim determination, was Malik, her feared gangster brother. Kelvin's face drained of all color. He looked like he'd seen a ghost. "No, no, 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 no," he mumbled, his perfect plan unraveling before his very eyes. As they walked slowly down the aisle, Malik locked eyes with Kelvin, a promise of pain in his gaze. "You chose the wrong woman," Malik's low voice rumbled, a death sentence in itself. Kelvin was trapped. There was no escape. They reached the altar, the air thick with unspoken threats and shattered promises. The final act was about to begin. The priest began the ceremony, his voice echoing in the silent church. Kelvin was sweating, his eyes darting between Amara and Malik, a cornered animal. "Do you take this woman?" Before the priest could finish, the sound of a sharp slap echoed through the sanctuary. Amara had struck Kelvin, her handprint a stark red mark on his pale cheek. The entire church froze. "I knew," she said, her voice no longer soft and submissive, but strong, clear, and utterly broken. The guests gasped. "I knew you planned my death," she continued, her voice rising with every word of betrayal. "I knew you wanted my money. I knew you insured my life before you ever thought to protect my heart." Kelvin's legs gave out, and he collapsed to his knees, a pathetic, defeated man. From the side, Malik stepped forward. "You don't kill my sister," he stated, his voice deadly calm, "and live free." As if on cue, police officers stepped out from the pews, their presence a final, damning confirmation of Kelvin's fate in the aftermath. Amara stood tall. She slowly, deliberately removed the diamond ring from her finger. "I slept beside my enemy," she said, her voice a powerful testament to her strength, "but I woke up alive." Thank you for watching this story. If you enjoyed it, please remember to subscribe, share this video with your friends, leave a comment, and like this video. Your support helps us create more stories just like this one. See you in the next video.